We would invest in companies that are coming successfully out of this kind of programs and already received most probably some investments from these guys. Just to put things in perspective, we are a global organization. We have a presence, local presence in more than 20 countries. We have indirect local presence through Intel in most of the countries in the world. We invest anywhere from $300 to $500 million per year, approximately 120 investments. And we have a portfolio of 400 companies. And the best thing that we do for these companies is take small local companies from Slovenia, which have a great product, and help them develop in the global markets. So this means that we have specific programs which put you in front of large buyers of technology. We can introduce you to Walmart, we can introduce you to BMW, we can introduce you to Telefonica. All this is something that we run a program internally. This is the interesting stuff, if you want, the sexy stuff, helping you to increase sales. We also do things that you might not regard very well, which is put in place corporate governance. So we create the basis for you having a company, not only a product or technology. This is gonna come handy when you think about exit. And apart from this, we also bring the big money, if you want. We are not organized as a fund, and we are flexible in terms of the amount of money that we can invest. So we can continue supporting you through your lifetime. We also have a new program which is quite interesting, which is a global investment syndicate, in which if you want to all of a sudden raise quite a lot of money, more money than we would be comfortable in investing, we can bring in large investors from US or Europe that would co-invest together with us.
All right. So
let me add one thing. So from an outside perspective as an entrepreneur, Intel Capital also has a really great background in Central and Eastern Europe. I mean, like, they've been working and investing in companies here since the mid-90s. Like, I don't know of any firm, much as firm that's tied to Silicon Valley has been doing that. So you should point that out too. I think it's very relevant to this crowd.
Yeah, indeed, we do have experience in the region, and apart from this experience, regardless of the country in which we invest, we also bring quite a bit of recognition to the companies. All of a sudden, you want it or not, you get into the spotlight because of this investment.
Do you have to put Intel Insight on your logo?
Not really, actually. We prefer not.
Right. So you could say that venture capital at its best is a rocket booster that really helps your business to rise to the next level. You get access to advice, experience, networks of people, locally as well as internationally. Now, out of these guys who you raised your hands before, or how many of you actually consider either have VC funding today or consider it going forward? Like a dozen-ish, or maybe even more. So, okay, we've talked about money and the kind of extra cushioning around it, all the support schemes and the expertise that you bring to the table. Now, if these guys that raise their hands come to you and you come to an amicable understanding that, hey, there is a match there, we could do some wonderful stuff together, it seems like they get quite a bit from you. They get cash and they get expertise and all of that other stuff, hard stuff as well as soft. But what do they have to give up? What do you get in return? Because you don't do it for pretty faces and nice smiles. You will get pretty hard on their asses, won't you? What will they lose?
I guess I'll start as well. So our deal's standard. We do only one deal, one term sheet. We never negotiate anything. It's 25K or 50K depending on the company. So that's the only flexible point. And then it's 8% of the company. We take common stocks, so actually we don't have any rights or anything like that. We come on the exact same size as entrepreneur, and that's our deal. So yeah, it's pretty actually entrepreneur friendly, I think. Good luck, guys.
Do you feel uncomfortable, Dan?
Sorry?
Do you feel uncomfortable?
No, I mean that's a great business model. If you want to invest 50,000, that's a great business model, and you need to do it because otherwise you cannot afford it.
If I was investing millions of dollars, I would have different terms too.
Yeah.
I will definitely caveat that. I mean, I would have completely different terms, right?
That will give us insights into that. You spend quite a bit of money.
Yeah, we do spend quite a bit of money, and I was pointing to something that maybe you overlooked, which is putting in place corporate governance. This means that you definitely lose complete control over your company. You are not the god anymore. You cannot make decisions from one day to the other. There is a board that you need to interact to. You need to answer to a board that you need to engage. So definitely there is, if you want, you lose part of your flexibility. At the same time, you get access to a lot of advice from the board members. So you lose control, but you get advice.
Oliver, do they sometimes come to you, by they, I mean startups, young companies, clamoring for your money? Do they come to you saying, yeah, all that control stuff, yeah, you'll be helping us, yeah, we'll be giving up control, blah, 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 but really not thinking it through, and when reality strikes, then all of a sudden they're like, oh, crap.
Sure. I mean, the worst entrepreneurs are those who just try to think what you think, so they say what you want to hear, but I think you can figure that out, and then they don't pass. That's pretty clear. So you have to really get to understand that person, especially if you're investing a bit more of your time, of my time, and our money. And I personally think this whole question of the bad VC is completely overrated. At the end of the day, it's clear that when you go after VC money, that you personally already have chosen a path, that you're going to sell that company, that it's not your company anymore. So if you haven't come to that understanding, then you're in the wrong place anyway. And then it's a personal question. It's a question: is the entrepreneur a good person, and is the VC a good person? And that's not something that you can generalize in any case. So I don't see that issue actually.
Yura, what kind of deals do you do here? What do you take? I mean, we could assume that it's probably a stake in the company.
Yeah.
What else? And how does that work? Is there a sort of a ratio that you're looking at? Like, hey, if or does it have to do with the stage of the company that approaches you? Like, if they're really, really early, they don't yet have a functioning product, you take more risk. How much of their company do you want to have in return?
We usually do not invest in such early stages. So we invest in, as I said, approximately €1 million. And we take somewhere around from 30 to 40% of the company. We do not buyouts. We just do the capital increase investments. Otherwise, we have two guys here from our portfolio. So if anybody has any question about you can stand up. If you have any question regarding the relationship between the VC and the entrepreneur, you can just approach them and ask them for their experience. We have regularly weekly meetings, and usually that means more than once a week. We have just scheduled once a week, but usually we have more. We help them in any way that we can, and we think that we can.
Now, it used to be that, at least what kind of filtered through popular coverage of the VC business and the startup business, was that every VC is looking for the next billion-dollar company, or a company that's going to change the world. That has been devalued a little bit. Not everyone can change the world, but how high is the bar these days? Are you okay if their ambition is to be a 15 million euro company, or their ambition is the Balkans? Or will they have more luck with you, or will they excite you more if indeed they are setting their sights at becoming the next Apple, the next Microsoft, the next Skype, and the next whatever? Where does the whole ambition thing, the global dominance thing, how does that play into your thinking?
I mean, it really comes down to the size of the fund, right? If you're like NEA and you have 2.5 billion under management, if you get a $50 million return, and let's say the UVC owned 30% of that, that doesn't move the needle on a $2.5 million billion fund if you want to do returns. For us, $50 million return, that's awesome. Yeah, we get a nice big chunk. We put very little money in. We get 10x, 20x multiplier on top of that. That's pretty awesome, right? So it really comes down to how big the fund is and what they're looking for. And that's why these big funds in Silicon Valley always say, hey, we want the $1 billion exit, because a lot of these funds are 500 to $1 billion or more, and it doesn't move the needle otherwise. That's why they kind of always keep on saying that. And yeah, most companies won't become the $1 billion, and I understand that. So it's like the rule is usually one really huge exit, 2 or 3 kind of decent sized exits, and the rest are kind of a wash. It's the portfolio approach, right? So you have to understand that, yeah, not everyone's gonna be that big, but you want people at least thinking that big. And that's why also you hear all this contention about like, sometimes a company wants to, sell, but the VCs won't let them. And then, there's a whole fight with the entrepreneurs because, yeah, the VCs have different, goals sometimes, right? So.
Anyone else want to pitch in? Chip in?
No,
Yeah, I think actually in our case, for example, we are clearly going after the 10 to 20 million exits. That's, I think, my personal exit was bigger, but that was luck to some degree. But if you think about Central European companies, there are a few that you can actually take and put into the valley and then hope that they get big, and that's kind of a migration path or a bridge path. But the typical fate of really, really, really good Austrian Central European companies is that they get acquired at some level for the technology, for the talent, for a certain market aspect. And that, on the other hand, if you have the right people involved, is very, very. It's not sheer luck. That's something you can more or less plan. That's something you can put statistics around. So I think it's a very different ballgame if how big your fund is and where you're located, whether you're in the Valley or whether you're in Central Europe. And so I think there's nothing bad about mid-sized exits.
By the way, all of you are in my position right now, which you are in the position to ask questions. So if something does pop in your mind, raise your hand. We'll throw a mic at you. There it is. Let's get this to you. I'm told that the acoustics here without the mic are not the most exciting one.
Paul, Vladimir from Palo Alto. We met by email earlier. Yep. Question for you. What would it take for you to be interested in a company from this part of the world?
So, it was pretty much my criteria. I don't really care where the hell you are at, and that's, one of the reasons I'm here, right? I believe there's going to be a lot more consumer internet gaming, mobile companies started all over the world, right? Proliferation of open source. All the blogs are out there, all the marketing materials, all these cool tools like Google Analytics and things are out there, and everyone can use them. So you guys are all on an equal playing field there. So for us, since we're putting money really early, the really big thing is do we like you guys? Are you guys building in a cool direction we think is interesting? And also, can you guys get your butts over to San Francisco to hang out with us for the 3 months? If you guys can fulfill all those 3 things, we're interested, right? That's why I'm here. And we've actually taken 2 companies from Europe in the past. So yeah, we're totally down.
Now, are there differences regionally? You don't care where a company is from, but
yeah.
All of you guys, you've looked at, I would assume, companies from different countries, different cultures, different languages. Can you make any generalizations as to, okay, so an Eastern European company, usually they don't know how to present themselves. They have a hard time, getting beyond the technology, or they just come to you at a stage where they're not clearly ready for VC money. They just say, hey, we have this great idea. I have a friend who's working at Microsoft right now, so he could actually resign and we could start something. And so, can you give us money? Can you make any generalizations here from your experience?
Yeah, if I may, I think what's very interesting is the type of involvement that you need to have with companies from this region compared to what's happening in other regions. My colleagues in US or Western Europe tell me that they can close deals in 4 months after they meet the company. It's not gonna happen here within the next 5 to 10 years. Here companies need a lot of hand-holding. I'm willing to do that, but because they don't know what we want. There is not enough VCs for them to get exposed to. They don't know what are the requirements. They don't know to come and bang on the door with a business plan, with a vision, with everything already in place. So what I do quite a lot of times is help them develop, put together the right information. Then there is quite a bit of education, if you want, in terms of explaining terms that are common in the VC world, and many times are quite strange to this region. So I would say that the biggest difference here is the culture, the investment culture, which is kind of missing, and what you need is people that are ready to invest a lot of time to make it happen.